In 1999, I came up with the idea of creating what I called the Whole Earth Genealogy Project. The way I had visualized it working was to create a website where people would create their own genealogy, as much of it as they knew about, and other people would come and create their genealogy. Over time, the system would start automatically connecting the entire genealogy of the human race mapped out as far back as possible. On one hand, this was a massive, huge project that was going to require the buy-in of people all over the world, lots of organizations, all the different nations. The information I was quite certain would prove to be tremendously valuable, providing information about hereditary diseases, demographic and census data, and much more. Yes, the privacy issue kept coming up, but I always thought that the value of the information would be greater than the privacy issues. What I was trying to create was this grid map of all humanity. This would be a new organizing system for people. This would be a new taxonomy, a geography of sorts of all humanity. Every person on Earth would have a placeholder showing them exactly where they fit in. So how is this different than social networking? Social networking sites create a relational grid map for personal relationships. This would be a grid map for biological relationships. The difference being that person-to-person relationships are transient, but biological ones are permanent. At the time, the revenue model that I came up with was to charge people for leaving memorials for their family and friends. But as I was thinking about this overarching grid map of humanity, and the idea is that every person would have their own personal cell in which they could store information, the idea occurred to me that this information could be auto-generated. Recently, a research team led by Dr. Vincent Savalainen at the Imperial College of London discovered what's being called the MATK gene. This is known as the barcode gene. The barcode gene is able to identify the different plants and animal species. Not only will it read their DNA, but it will also map out their relationship from one person to another. So if somebody developed a technology for remotely reading a person's DNA, and I predict we'll create this kind of technology within the next 10 years, a simple flyover with unmanned aircraft will be able to capture all of this data. Not only will it read the DNA, it will be able to decipher the information and map out the relationships between people and auto-generate the entire Whole Earth Genealogy Project. Almost overnight, we'll have a new kind of information database, unlike anything the world has ever known. So is this something that's kind of scaring the hell out of you? Well, it should be. If the data being collected at the Google, Yahoo, and Amazon data centers is somehow connected to the people in these cells, not only do we have their genealogical and DNA information, but also personality data, and eventually biometric data, public records, and financial information as well. So wow. My Whole Earth Genealogy Project has suddenly turned into the ultimate Big Brother technology. In a world where knowledge is power, too much information can lead to a breakdown of social structure and mass chaos. But here's what I believe to be a more realistic picture. No technology is either all good or all bad. It always falls somewhere in between. While we generally think that living a radically transparent life means that we'll be vulnerable to all kinds of threats and problems, the fact of the matter is that we haven't tried it, so we don't know. Radical transparency on one hand makes us vulnerable, but on the other hand provides safety. A person lobbing hand grenades at my glass house has to remember that he's also living in a glass house. I'm pretty sure that moving to a radically transparent lifestyle where everybody knows everything about everybody else isn't going to solve all of our problems. On the other hand, living in a world with all of our current information barriers actually creates more problems than it solves. I've come to the conclusion that this technology is inevitable. It will happen whether we want it to or not. We will need to create systems for managing it, and the sooner we come to grips with systems for managing radical transparency, the better. But for me, I just see that every revolutionary breakthrough is a stepping stone to the next revolutionary breakthrough. As an idea junkie, my life is just one tortured quest for the next great idea fix, and so I keep searching. This has been Thomas Frey, Senior Futurist at the Da Vinci Institute, signing off.